President Joe Biden reassured Asia-Pacific economies of American commitment at a summit in San Francisco. The U.S. president said his talks with Chinese leader Xi Jinping would provide stability for the region and the whole world. The summit opened with a sense of relief after Biden and Xi met for the first time in a year and emerged pledging to avoid the kind of dangerous rift that could upend the world economy. They agreed to restore military-to-military links. Xi promised to crack down on production of the ingredients in China for the drug fentanyl flooding into the United States. The U.S. president told the APEC summit that Washington was committed to the region despite Beijing's efforts to expand its influence in the region. Biden said Xi had asked him on why the U.S. is so engaged in the Pacific.
The United States is a Pacific power. I had that brief discussion yesterday with President Xi. He asked he had asked me before, I reminded him why we are so engaged in the Pacific. It's because we're a Pacific nation. And because of us, there's been peace and security in the region, allowing you to grow. He didn't disagree. By the way, it was a very good, straightforward meeting.
Biden, however, said the U.S. and China were now committed to diplomacy to avoid surprises or bad misunderstandings. Remember, the United States and China have one of the world's most important and complex bilateral relationships. Since 1949, the countries have experienced periods of both tension and cooperation over issues including Taiwan, the South China Sea, and climate change. Now, Biden, for his part, said that despite his talks with Xi, he still considers the communist leader a dictator, a remark that drew fire from the Chinese government. Xi, however, received a warm reception at a dinner in San Francisco on Wednesday. Hundreds of U.S. business leaders rose to their feet and clapped as he entered and gave him several rounds of applause. The Chinese leader hinted at the dinner that he may deploy a form of soft, even cuddly power to improve ties with the United States. Pandas. Now, the U.S. will soon be without any of the popular big bears after 3 were sent back from Washington this year. She said China was considering a new batch as envoys of friendship between the Chinese and American people.
I听说很多美国民众，特别是孩子们，依依不舍，专门到动物园去送行。我还了解到，圣达哥动物园和加州人民热切期盼大熊猫能重返加州。大熊猫是中美人民的友谊使者，我们愿意继续同美国开展大熊猫保护合作，努力满足加州人民的愿望，增进两国人民的。
And finally, some visuals making a buzz. After their meeting, Biden and Xi chatted about their presidential cars. The U.S. president dubbed his Chinese counterpart's vehicle beautiful before saying it is like a Cadillac. Now, for more on this, our correspondent Susan Tehrani has sent us this report from New York. Listen in.
When President Biden addressed the APEC summit on Thursday, he was reading from a script saying that his meeting with China's Xi Jinping was the most productive and constructive that the two had ever had. However, he then went off script saying that this is not, as my generation might say, this is not all kumbaya. Well, not surprising, considering the fact that the U.S. president called his Chinese counterpart a dictator just a day earlier. Nonetheless, the president said that he intends to, quote unquote, responsibly manage competition between the United States and China. President Biden received applause from those in attendance when he said that the U.S. and China have decided to resume military-to-military talks. The audience also applauded the U.S. president when he said that the stable relationship between the two largest economies is good for the entire world. Susan Tehrani reporting from New York for WION World is One.